Wrestling is life. Wrestling is life. Wrestling is life is wrestling.
Welcome, everyone, to Wrestling is Life is Wrestling with Cody Diener. I am Cody Diener, and I am a professional wrestler. I'm a professional wrestling producer with TNA Wrestling. I'm a professional motivational speaker, and I'm a professional dad. I'm a father of 4 awesome kids and a husband to 1 beautiful, amazing wife. And this is my podcast. This is a show where we explore how wrestling imitates life and life imitates wrestling, and all the lessons that we can learn in between. Before we get to today's episode, please visit our sponsors, Rest When Dead Clothing at restwhendead.ca and ceofit.ca for all your fitness and supplement needs. You can also support the show by taking a screenshot right now and tagging at Cody Diener on your socials. So let's get to it. Enjoy the show. Choose your experience. I'm back here with one half of the Great Hands, John Skyler, and we have this idea that in wrestling, there are good experiences, there are bad experiences, and sometimes you have to choose, is this good for you or is it bad for you? And that could mean a lot of things depending on timing, experience level. It's very situational. I'd never even thought of this until Skyler, you brought this up, and I think this is such a fascinating topic. Why is this topic important to you, and where's your mind going with this?
So, when I first started wrestling, and obviously wrestling is my dream job, and we talked about this the last time we talked. I've been wrestling for 17 years.
Yep.
You've been wrestling longer than I have because you're an old man with children. And I almost slipped into Tommy Dreamer mode there for a
Yeah, you
second.
did.
But there's all there's a big misconception, I think, about what it means to have experience and get experience in professional wrestling. Um, Case in point, when I first started in 2008, I would wrestle every weekend, sometimes for no money, just to get ring time. And I might be wrestling in front of 20 people. On a good night, I might be wrestling in front of 75 people. But the bottom line was I was 20 years old at the time. So I was honestly just trying to get experience having matches in a ring in front of a crowd. Now,
Yes.
fast forward 17 years to where I'm at now. Would I be caught dead on one of those shows? Probably not, because at this point, if I'm wrestling in front of 75 people for little to no money, I probably did something wrong along the way.
Yeah.
So, but that would be what I would. It just again, it all boils down to perception too, right?
Yes.
Like 17 years later, I can look back at that experience from 17 years ago and go, no, that was a good experience because it was getting me ring time. I was wrestling on shows in front of people, and it helped start setting the stage for what my career would become.
Hell yeah. Man, this is bringing up so many. Oh, man, there's so many ways we could take this conversation. I'm just going to just share an experience with you, and we'll see what you think of this, because this is what really popped into my mind. Very similar to you. Been doing this a long time. And about 5 years ago, I was on a fair show, in a field in the middle of nowhere. And there's about 50 people maybe in the audience. I'm in the middle of the ring, and I go, I can't do this anymore.
We've
And
all been there, brother.
yeah, but I didn't mean like I can't be a wrestler anymore. I knew I have to stop saying yes to these shows, because I'm kind of a guy that I said yes to everything. It's kind of ingrained in me that, hey, man, we want to book you for here at this date. And I look at my calendar, and if that date is open, I'm saying yes. And my wife kept bugging me saying, you have to start saying no. And I'm like, it's just not in me. It's not in me. And I realized in that moment, I got to say no. And it's not because there's something wrong with that experience, but that was an experience that served me about 10, 15 years before that. When I was doing those a lot, I can't say how many good lessons that I've learned from doing those shows that I still use to this day.
Mhm.
For example, one of my favorite matches in TNA is with you and with Hotch, where we literally work a 10 punch and for the whole
Oh, that was so
time,
much fun.
and the crowd was going insane. And like those the cadence of that match and the way that match flowed was like something I would have done on a fair show in front of 50 people. But I learned how to do that and do it the right way that I could get over anywhere. I learned how to do that on the fair show in front of 20 kids that don't know wrestling. And I learned so much about how to really read and work an audience from doing those shows. I learned how to work with guys that don't know how to wrestle. So now I can literally wrestle anybody and go, yep, I've literally wrestled a guy that doesn't know anything about professional wrestling. So I can be put in any situation. I learned that from doing those shows.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to a point where it's like, nope, that experience was an experience for that time. And
Mm-hmm.
I need to be past that now.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like when I went over and worked for Brian Dixon for the first time and did the
Yeah,
the
man.
holiday camps,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of that would be from a if you're a British wrestling purist,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of those holiday camp shows would be almost like a fair show. Like it's a lot of hokiness. It's good versus evil, but you're doing this in front of a huge crowd of mostly families, and that's why that experience in particular was so valuable to my career, because when we get to Full Sail University in Orlando, Florida, and we have to come up with an explosion match,
Yep.
I think back to some of the tricks that I learned working for Brian, and that's one of the beautiful things is like, again, is that something that, for one, I don't think it's like it used to be, which never really is the older you get. But I
Yes.
mean, like, I don't really think that's an experience guys get anymore, and it's something that was very valuable in my career. Um, and the other thing is like extra work. So like
Mm.
I like
Yeah.
uh extra work for me in my early 20s was an awesome experience because I get to pick Regal's brain and
Me
get
too.
seen or whatever, and
Yes.
yeah, good paydays, but
Mm-hmm.
after a certain point, when you do that kind of stuff long enough, that's kind of where your career path is destined to be. And I thought that was what was going to happen to me for
Mm-hmm.
a while. And one of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten was actually from our friend Scott Demore,
Mm-hmm.
because right around the time I met Scott, right before I signed my first deal with TNA, I was doing I was doing tryouts and I was doing some stuff with AEW, and Scott finally told me, he was like, "Look, you're in your 30s now. You gotta you gotta sink or swim now. You gotta try something different. You've done it for the experience and you're a great wrestler. And now it's time to see what else is out there for you." And that's kind of that conversation's what led me to uh, really starting with TNA.
Wow, that is such good advice. I mean,
Yeah.
I think one of the keys is people, and this I say people because this is not just wrestlers, but this is an issue in wrestling, is self-awareness and being honest with yourself and going, okay, where am I at? And where right now, where do I want to be? And what experience do I need to choose now? Because
Mhm.
you could have just kept doing or not even dark matches. You could have just kept doing extra work and just been a security guard on Raw for 3 more years. And
Mhm.
then you could have started to get like, oh, that's the guy that he'll just show up and he's just going to do that.
Mhm.
You had to make a choice and go, nope, I am better than that. And I'm past the time of that experience. You consciously had to make that decision
Sure,
based on
and I took the road that's less traveled. I could,
Mm,
like you said, I could have continued to do the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result,
yep,
which is the definition of insanity.
totally.
Or you could take the road less traveled, and golly, thank God I took the road less traveled. Otherwise, we might not be having this conversation we're having now, because I
Yep.
might not have ever become one with you and the rest of the band of Canadians that I used to travel with.
Hell yeah, brother. So I think this is really important to make a distinction here because I think there's probably going to be some either younger wrestlers that are like that are going to take this out of context and be like, oh, like I'm not going to do extra work because I don't want to be seen as that guy. That's not what we're saying, right?
No,
And
yeah,
I've been in rings and done tricks from the fair shows, the same tricks that you would have learned on the Dixon shows. I've done those with guys that are on television, but like younger guys that never did those, and they're like, oh my God, that was amazing. Like, how did you do that? Right? They couldn't believe what just happened. Like, I didn't even take a bump. I'm like, yeah, brother, that's the trick. Right?
Yep.
I learned that
Yep.
trick many years ago. And again, thank God I learned that experience, because I've been able to do this for 25 years now, because I did not, I did probably more than a decade of hardly falling down.
Mhm. And
And
even going back to my early days on the Indies when I was traveling with Cash Wheeler and we were literally driving from Birmingham, Alabama on a Friday show to go to ECWA in Dover, Delaware for a Saturday show and barely making it in time because
Mhm.
we had to literally drive through the night to get there
Yep.
and only getting paid $75 a piece. You
Mhm.
know, again, it sounds absolutely miserable at the time because you're not making any money and you're driving long hours with another dude in a car and you're beating your bodies up. But like, I don't regret that at all. That's a great experience, like looking back at it.
Mhm.
And sometimes, like, it takes maybe not failing, but like, maybe it takes a bad experience, like, I guess to help you grow and learn. Because I remember
Absolutely.
the one last thing, like, well, real quick, like I had one of the worst dark matches of all time at WWE NXT
Okay.
with this guy named Jeet Rama, who was a
Okay.
great guy, great guy. But he was very inexperienced. He was from India,
Okay.
and we were wrestling a dark match at Full Sail where we had our classic.
Yep.
But I remember thinking to myself, "Wow, that went okay." And I get to the back, and William Regal calls me over with one finger, and I'm like, "Here it is. This is where I'm going to get the big offer." And he proceeded to tear me down and tear me apart in a constructive way, but you could tell, like, clearly I just didn't do what they wanted.
Right.
And the next day, me and Regal get along great. I still send him stuff via email. We keep in touch.
Awesome.
But the next day, I was like, I need to quit the business because that was my last opportunity right there. Like, I'm not going to get to do this again. But like now, looking back at it, it was like a horrifying experience when it happened. But I look back at it now and I go, well, if that's the worst thing that ever happens to me in a wrestling ring, I've lived it already.
Yep.
So now, if anything, it's boosted my confidence and has helped me so much where we're at now. Like,
Hell yeah.
so was that a good experience or a bad experience?
Ah. So that's where, so this idea of choose your experience, there's a difference between the before and the after, because you have to make a choice before the experience. If there's an experience presented to you, a potential experience, you choose as beforehand, okay, is this going to be good for me or bad for me in this situation, this timing? So then you make your choice based on that. Then after, you also have a choice.
Mhm.
You choose whether or not you're going to let that experience, if it seemed bad, be the water to your fire or the gasoline. And that's the difference between someone who has longevity in the business versus they don't.
Mhm.
Is you have to choose that experience is going to be something that you learn from, because you learn exponentially more from your failures than you do from your successes. And you just have to make a choice.
Feels like therapy.
Yeah, man. So that's why this wrestling is life. It's wrestling, because I've learned that and I've applied it to my life, dude. That like if I totally bomb something, I just like it doesn't affect me because I have bombed in front of tens of thousands of people, or had somebody that was my hero tell me that I'm not very good and that
Mhm.
what I just did kind of sucked, and it didn't destroy me. I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I gotta use that as fuel, and I gotta learn something from that. And
Sometimes you gotta deflate that balloon a little bit so you can blow it back up to even a bigger balloon.
hell yeah, there you go. There's another one. Bam, I love it. What a good way to end. Because yes, so choose your experience, but you also choose how you respond to that experience as well. And both in wrestling and in life, almost every experience, it can be good, but you also at every turn you've got to be honest with yourself,
Mhm.
um, uh, on how you're going to respond. But then also, are you going to walk into that or not? I don't know if this conversation made me want to go wrestle on a fair show or not, brother. I'm kind of.
I'm just glad I chose this experience on being here with you today.
Oh, good way to end there, brother. I love you, Skyler. Hey, man. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
Hey, buddy.
That's going to do it for another episode of Wrestling is Life is Wrestling. Until next time, guys, please visit our sponsors, Rest When Dead Clothing at restwhendead.ca, as well as ceofit.ca for all your fitness and fitness supplement needs. Don't forget to take a screenshot of today's episode and tag me at Cody Diener. If you want to learn how to book me on your wrestling show or your speaking event, you can go to codydiener.com or learn about my speaking career at chrisgrayspeaks.com. Until next time, guys, don't forget that wrestling is life, is wrestling. We'll see you next time, guys.
Wrestling is life. Wrestling is life. Wrestling is life, is wrestling.